And I got you guys live right now on my feed, so if you just want to just go into it and we can get it knocked out, man.
Not,
Like, because that's what
not.
entrepreneurship is, right? Entrepreneurship is, see, this is something that I realized with you. Like, you want to have everything perfect, right? You want to have this, okay? But true entrepreneurship is leaping out with all the fears, but being bold and then figuring it out as you come. Does that make sense?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I
And,
fully
and,
understand what
and I
you're
know you
saying.
understand that. That's why you invested in crypto. So I think because to do all that stuff, to prepare and make it perfect, is because of the conditioning of our society and our school system. Like, we want to be perfect. We don't want to fail. But in that failure free flight is when we can be totally creative.
No, you're right. You are right.
Do you understand? So you can
Okay.
totally, like, I'm like
I
just
just wanted
free
to,
flowing with you, right? So I'm like, let's turn it on, let's go. We don't have to prep. You know what you're doing. You know what it's like free flowing. It's like that's the best way to fly. That's the best way to be your dreams. The other way is to sign a note to get a loan from the bank and say, please, can I be my dreams? I don't want that. You don't want that. Your team doesn't want that, right? We want to fly. And that's why we like Bitcoin. There's no permission. You don't have to wait around and like, can I do this? Like, you just, right?
get in there.
Get in there and do it,
That's
man.
right.
So
Okay. Well, just to introduce the people that are viewing from my side, I'm Fun Show from BBI Pages, and I've got Mike D here, MrNoFluff.com, and I've done a lot of homework on you, Mike, and you're a prolific real estate entrepreneur. You're based in America, but for the people that are watching this video from our side that don't know you, can you please just tell us a bit about yourself and your journey so far?
Yeah, man. I'm just a human, like Bruce Lee says. Like we're all the same. So I'm just a human, just like you and your viewers. And I have dreams just like you do. And I want a better life for my family and my kids, just like you do and your viewers do. So I'm nothing. I'm not gonna like say I'm from this. I was born in Iran as a refugee. I came to America, didn't speak the language, and I started with $100 without borrowing money. And that's why I know that you are more powerful than the bankers or credit system or formality. Right? When you jump, you could be creative, right? And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do for you, for your viewers, and for myself is for us just to leap. Forget the fear, right? Does that make sense? And so I am just like you, dude. I'm you just like your viewers, man. Like we want a better life. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter what part of the world we are. We could be from India, Pakistan, UK, America. We want the same thing as all, right? Isn't that true? Don't you want a better life?
That's very true.
That's
That is
yeah.
very true. But I think it's important for people to have a bit of a story there because people like to know what people have been through. And that's why I'm sort of probing a little bit just to get an understanding of what your life experience have been. In a short sort of story from you, just letting people know what you've been through and where you are now, because a lot of things change for everybody in their life as they grow up, as they go along. Your mindset is probably different to what it was when you were in your 20s. So it's just to get a good understanding really of who you are and where you've come in your life this far.
Perfect, man. A quick crash through was, I was just a little kid. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but one day, I'm hearing bombs and sirens, and I'm in Iran, and there's an Iran and Iraq war. And you can learn about like government manipulations and overthrown and stuff like that in the history books. But I remember that. Then I remember just one night waking up in the middle of the night, and me and my family had to escape our country because we're not Muslim, or my parents are not Muslim. I don't have a religion. I believe, everyone's the same. But my parents are Baha'is, and we had to escape, just like this, not letting anyone know, because the government were killing Baha'is, just like they were doing in Germany with Jewish people. So we escaped. We went to Pakistan. We lived there for like a year and some change, and then we came to Spain, and then we finally came to America as a refugees. And parents didn't know anybody, didn't have any money, didn't speak the language, didn't have any connections, and so on. After barely making it through school because I didn't spoke the language, whatever, I eventually got to college. I did that because my parents wanted me to. I didn't want to go to college, but as a Middle Eastern, you try to please your parents, right? So I did whatever they wanted to because they sacrificed their life to come to America. So I try to do whatever they want. As soon as I got out of college, I had an opportunity to get a job, actually multiple different jobs. I didn't want to. I decided to live in my car because I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I didn't want to come work for anyone. So I lived in my car. I started a business, a moving company. This was the early age of internet, just kind of like Bitcoin blockchain it is today. It was the early ages. We had dial-up. There was AOL and Net Zero in America at the malls that were giving you little CDs or floppy disks where you can install their software to get dial-up access. I realized that there was an opportunity with what was, the word wasn't cone search engine optimization because there was not search engines, but first was Yahoo where they created directories. So I was able to put my websites up there and generate leads. At that time I was in personal training and I sold supplements. So I was getting leads and stuff of that nature, okay? So I had learned about that. So as soon as I graduated college, I was in my car, I was doing some personal training, but a guy had given me a CD by Rich Dad and Poor Dad, and I realized that I didn't want to be in the S quadrant because I have to work all the time. I want to get into B quadrant or I quadrant because I want to have people working for me. So I let go of my personal training, even though that was going to be making me a lot of money, even though I went to college for that, to start a moving company because I knew I could get a bunch of people to do the moves versus me. And I used the internet to generate leads for my moving company because I had already done that during college to pay for my supplements, to pay for my bills. I used to sell supplements or personal training, So I generated leads. So I said, why not moving? Because more people are moving in America, and half the percent of people are sedentary. They can't move heavy stuff. And in America, we do a lot of consumption, so we have a lot of stuff. We have storage facilities, and so moving is, was very hot. And I turned $100, and I had that business for 14, 15 years. That sparked into the real estate crash of 2006, which I wanted to get into real estate. I had some money now. Before I didn't when I started the business, but now I had a couple of $100,000 in the bank. I had excellent credit, but the stock, everything had just melted. The banks were not lending anyone. I remember going to different banks, showing them that look, I can buy a couple of houses, but I want to get more. They would not lend. So I decided to do creative financing where I knock on the seller's door and say, look, you're losing your home. Let me save your equity, or let me save your credit. And many people sold me that way where I didn't have to get a loan from the bank, okay? Fast forwarding a little bit, I started a brokerage firm. I had people older than my grandparents working for me. Now I have 3 businesses. I have rental houses. And every time I chased a mountain, I would feel good, right? Because I was trained to feel good, like consumption. Like I wanted to get more and more. But there was some kind of emptiness into me. Now I'm making multi-millions of dollars. Now I have multiple rental houses. Now I have multiple houses. Now I don't have to look at my banking account. I'm buying people stuff. I'm giving gifts, thousands of dollars. I'm just going to hospitals and just giving people stuff. Okay, a guy that started with $100 was like, I wasn't Bill Gates, but it was a lot of money for as a refugee, right? But I wasn't happy until I consumed more, and until I went to the next mountain, and I realized that I had a disease because I'm not happy no matter how much I consume, no matter how many gold medals I win. I want the next location. Once I get the next location, I want another location. I want another location. It's just always consumption, and I realized this is a pitfall that I got trapped in somehow because society sold me. Right? They sold me on a nice car, nice homes, and multiple businesses, and I thought, man, there's got to be more to life than this. So I let go of all my stuff, went homeless, and try to figure out what the meaning of life is, right? Because it can't just be like climbing the next mountain or being the biggest guy in the gym or making the most money, because there's always someone else that's going to make more money or is prettier than you. So there's always a psychological race, right? So I want to just let go of everything because that's not what life was for me. I didn't understand it. I didn't want to just keep climbing. I wanted to be happy where I stand. Does that make sense? If that's underneath the bridge, or if that's in a mansion, okay? And that's where I am right now with Mr. No Fluff. After becoming homeless, I started this business because I've been doing free videos since 2013. People have messaged me, hey, I made money here. Here's a check. And so I said, hey, why not help more people and actually have this pay for my expenses. At the same time, I'm changing lives, and I like it better than any other business I ever had before. Does that make sense?
It does, and it's commendable. I think it takes for a lot of people sometimes to go through life and have experiences before they realise what truly is the thing that they're meant to do. And clearly, you've been very successful throughout your life thus far, and this is what has filled that gap, that empty gap for you. So, you know, that's great, and you are trying to help people, and that is what's important. And I wanted to come on to the financial markets as well, because I know you know your stuff with this. What's your current standpoint on the financial markets today, and why do you think we're in this position?
I think that central bankers are one of the biggest problems because, for example, if you just look at America and you look back in the 50s or 40s or 60s, you know, we actually produce stuff, okay? And today, we're not producing anything besides instruments that we indebted the people, the governments, and other countries around the world, okay? So production is done in China. Production is done in India. The labor, the call centers are in Pakistan and the Philippines. So it's like everything is getting, someone else is doing it, okay? And that's why America is so rich. Like we have so much abundance, right? But the thing is, like an ounce of gold is the same price in India, in UK, in America. So does that make sense? And since we're the world reserve currency, we're constantly printing money and we're promoting this getting into debt without actually producing something. It's like, you understand what I'm saying? We're not producing it. We're not being creative. Does that make sense? And I think this is why it is, because of easy money, easy debt, and expansion. I was watching this guy on YouTube that he started a mining business out of his closet, and it made him profitable. And then he grew, and then he got other people's money. But the problem was that he was making money, but he was just expanding. And then now he's going bankrupt and he's closing his thing down. I thought to myself, like, this is what happens to GMC, this is what happens to Ford, this happens to most of us. When we get something, we want to expand and expand. Why do you need more and more space and more, you know, like, why not go slow, build your foundation by the solid, have the money in the freedom versus making the vendors rich, because he had to put like these electrical circuits, he had to put the fans in there, he had to put more broadband, and now that he loses everything, who benefits? The landlord. He would have been better off buying a small property where now if he lost a data center or the mining center, he could still own the property, right? But he went and improved someone else's property, spend thousands of dollars renovating someone else's property, and now when the market's down, he doesn't have any money. And this is the best way to learn. I'm not putting him down at all, because that's how you jump. You jump and you have to learn. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Now, excuse me. One thing that so many people have asked me from the crypto blockchain space is, what can I do with my investments to safeguard them? So for property in particular, what can people do to take precautions on their investments?
Okay, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm just giving people my opinion and what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, of course.
In a sense of like hackers, then you definitely, you know, that I definitely have a hard wallet, you know, to keep my stuff there. But I don't think you're talking about that aspect. I'm thinking you're talking about the fluctuation of it going up and down, and I think that I'm not an expert in cryptos. Okay, first of all, like to let guys know, the only reason I'm in cryptos is because I have a large sum of money that I invested. That's the only reason I learned. By no means am I a crypto expert or anything like that. Okay. Now, the reason I know is because I have large money into it, right? After it started crashing, because when it was going up, I thought Bitcoin was a scam, right? But at the same time, when I started buying real estate, creative, I thought it was a scam too. So here's the difference. Many people think it's a scam, but they're not willing to put their feet in there and to tap it into the water and see if it is. Is there any sharks in there? Is anything gonna bite them? They're just saying it's a scam. They throw their hands up and just negative. I'm doing the same thing. I'm saying this is a scam, but I don't put my hands up. I put my finger in there to make sure. And when I started buying real estate this way, I didn't think it was going to work. I was like, who would let me just take over their payment? Who would give me their social security number? I didn't think anyone would. But sure enough, people were. Okay, once I did a deal, I got more brave and courageous. Okay, same thing with cryptos. Okay, once it was going up, I thought it was a scam. I mean, I got to learn about cryptos way back, but I thought it was a scam. Okay, the only reason that I bought into it because it was 50% off, 60% off. And I said, well, if people bought into it, let me get into it now because one day it's going to come back up. Okay, then I started learning about it, right? But I'm a fire investor. When it's on fire, I'm going to go in. Does that make sense? Like right now, if Tesla melts down to like $50 or Apple, then I'll get into it. But I'm not a paper investor, nor am I an expert. But I'm a fire investor. When there is certain level of price and there's psychological fear or fire, blood in the street, and it comes down, if I don't know the asset, now I'm willing to stick my finger in the water and see if there's anyone and learn about it. Can I lose my money? Absolutely. But that's the only way to learn from it. Like, right? Just jumping out.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
Very true.
so is there a way to safeguard cryptos? I don't think so. The business is up and down right now, right? I mean, so I'm in it, and I'm going to go all the way to zero, or I'm going to go all the way to the moon. And there's no other choice for me. And that's what when you jump off the thing, you have to realize you're going to smush or you're going to fly. And I don't have to think about that. Like right now, like I can show you one of my profiles. Like I put, let me show it to you guys. You want me to show it to you? Like I put $10,000 in one profile. Yeah, let me see. I have my phone with you. And some of the cryptos that I bought, and it's down like I showed my wife like 90%, right? So it's like, but does that make me want to like sell? No, I'm buying more because I'm gonna crash or I'm gonna fly, and that's the only way. Like if you want to start a business, you gotta go. You can't say, okay, man, if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna leave. Does that make sense? Now I have to sacrifice, right? I have to sacrifice stuff. Like I had a Mercedes-Benz SL 500 that was eating so much gas, so I bought an electrical car. Now the money I would put into gas, I'll invest into cryptos because I look at it like, why pay the petrol companies? Why not risk it at me? So for the past year, I haven't paid any gas or fuel, zero. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? Okay, so like, here's one of them. Like right now in here it is 1,700. Okay, let's see. But it used to be, can you see it? It used to be $10,000 in this one profile. Okay, so I want you guys look at it. And so is it a risk? Absolutely. Anyone else would be like crying their eyes off of it because man, you put $10,000 and now it's only 1,700 or now 16,500, like it just came down 500 or something, right? They'll be crying.
Yeah.
So like I'm not trying to figure out how to like shield it. I'm thinking like, okay, did I believe in this in the beginning when I tipped my vote? No, I didn't. But as I learned more about it, like it's going to eliminate jobs, how it's going to eliminate title companies, how it's going to eliminate bankers or decrease the costs and empower you and me, then I believed in it more and more. Just like real estate. I didn't believe it at first. Right? I thought it was a scam, so I tried it. So the major difference is many people will have the fear and the doubt, but they're never willing to leap.
That's true.
Does that make sense?
It's having that courage. It's having that initial courage to actually jump into it and stick in there, which is the hard part.
Not only
out and they don't realise.
Not only the initial, but all the way through, right? You can't just have an initial. You just got to go down with the ship, or you sell with the ship.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Now, moving on as well. Obviously, we are predominantly blockchain, cryptocurrency community, but I believe that property and finance are such important topics that they can't be ignored at all by any investor. And there are a number of property companies that are now using blockchain technology and accepting cryptocurrency for payment for real estate. What do you think about cryptocurrency and its use case in the real estate market?
I think it's going to be revolutionary because instead of me want to buy a property and say it's 100,000, I got to come up with all the cash. Now I can buy a fractional of it for like $1, $50, $100, and now have the ability to have some of the cash flow of it according to the percentage that I own, or have the equity benefit of it or the tax benefit of it. I think it's tremendous because the average person can't buy investment properties, or they think they can because they don't have the skills that I teach at Mr. No Fluff, which is finding motivated sellers. So many people think that they can't get into buying a house because they don't have 100K or 200K or 500K, or they don't have credit. They don't know there's other ways to do direct seller to seller financing. Does that make sense? Where you can just take over people's payments, or if they don't have a mortgage, to do some kind of installment sell and, you know, sweeten the sugar for them. You know, maybe give them a little bit more money, but either way, you're not going to a bank. So I think that this is going to be revolutionary because, you know, I can buy $100 worth of real estate of the hottest hotel if I wanted to, right?
I like it. Okay, so how can people get in contact with you to find out more about what you can offer? Because obviously you do books, you do courses, you've got support groups, you're on Amazon with Kindle ebooks, and we think that that's fantastic. And, you know, congratulations
Thanks,
to you
brother.
for that. So how can people get in contact and find out more?
Perfect, man. You guys can go to mrnofluff.com, which is MRNOFLUFF.com, or you can go to YouTube/My Real Estate Dojo, My Real Estate Dojo. And that's
Fantastic.
that's my YouTube channel.
Brilliant stuff. And I know that we're live with you at the moment, Mike, and I did message you earlier about us doing a short clip promo for the video when we release it. So do you mind if we just go over that quickly?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
Fantastic. So basically, oh, that was not a good part.
Hey,
Apologies for that.
but while you're doing this, man, guys, if you guys ever want to do an interview, we're just gonna do a live interview. We're not gonna do like prep up interviews. Just
Yeah,
telling-
no problem.
yeah.
Not a problem.
No, I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking about in general. Go ahead, let's roll. I'm ready for it.
Fantastic. Hey guys, Fun Show here from BBI Pages. Been joined by a very experienced real estate entrepreneur, Mike D from My Real Estate Dojo. In our latest video interview with Mike, he speaks about his amazing life journey, how to profit from buying property during a financial collapse, cryptocurrency use cases in real estate, and you can learn more about what he does, his courses, support groups, and ebooks by visiting mrnofluff.com. That's MRNOFLUFF.com. You can click the link in the description below to watch the full interview. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mike.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to catch up with you as well.